Meditation on karma. And let's begin with a comfortable posture and working with the energies to settle and concentrate them. So beginning to rein in the awareness that has been distracted either externally or internally in dreams. Just give the attention one point of focus, tips of the nostrils or abdomen rising and falling. And let's repeat 10 cycles of breath, each breath, including both inhalation and exhalation. And then wherever you are, then drop into the body, expand the scope of the mindfulness so that the awareness can experience each sensation arising in the present moment. And try to create some equanimity, non-reactivity. Whether it's pleasant sensation, unpleasant sensation, neutral sensation, just try to stay with it. Again, in the course of our study and reflection of karma, this is exactly where the microscope should be placed. The sensation arising in the present moment and the urge are the ripening effect of karma. With consciousness, we can disrupt the cycle and choose to just ride through the wave and let the old karma exhaust itself. So let's do 10 cycles of breath, just observing sensations, observing the urge, and practicing the self-discipline to resist full completion. And now on the next breath, having stabilized the mind, even if slightly, let's pause for taking of refuge and generating the spirit of enlightenment. So you can recall that you've been on a very long journey. Your soul has migrated through the realms of existence since beginningless time. You have felt like a ship at sea without rudder or sail, or even bearing for countless lives. As a result of virtue, we have found the precious human life endowed with liberty and opportunity, which is not easily won, which is easily lost or squandered. How can we make good on our precious human life, let's take refuge. So those that have already taken refuge, think about your commitments, pledges, reflect on the power of the Buddha Dharma Sangha, 3 jewels. Reflect on the power of the 4th jewel, the Guru. Refresh your vows. Those that have not taken refuge, do contemplate how powerful mind is. It's capable equally of destruction and liberation. And try to pray that one day you'll meet the causes and conditions for the taking of refuge with a qualified Mahayana guide. It is said that taking refuge is like giving safe direction to the soul, the consciousness. It is giving it a pathway leading to liberation, which is the antithesis of endless wandering in the cycles of samsara. On that basis, then also generate the altruistic wish. So think about your kind, near and dear ones. Also think about the infinite strangers. And most especially think about the difficult ones. All of these are mother beings bound in the net of samsara, caught in the web of delusions and afflictions. Let us situate our aspiration for awakening, including them. May we awaken not only for ourselves, may we awaken for all living beings. Now we can go through some simple reflections, having established proper motivation. Let's think about what karma is and what it isn't. Popular notions of karma in our culture have to do with the boomerang effect. We have been impacted by these memes. So just think about good little boys and good little girls get good outcomes. They win lotteries. They find the right partners. They never get into trouble. Nothing painful ever befalls them. Bad little boys, bad little girls get abused, lose their money in the stock market, get ill, get cancer. So this is a partial truth. There's this idea that karma is based on causality. There's a cause and effect. That's the partial truth in these boomerang memes. But the aspect that's not true is that the causes create external effects. People are mean to us. Somehow makes it seem as though the world is our theater and that all the beings in the world are just puppets or players or agents or actors in our theater. It's actually very myopic, almost narcissistic. It doesn't leave any room for anybody else's agency in the matrix of reality. The stage in which we act is co-emergent. We're a player with our own agency in that stage, other people's acting according to their own agency or karma, and the two intersect, no doubt. What the Buddha was discussing with karma is a psychological cause and effect. That means there is a cause or intentions which drive actions. Those intentions and those actions can be in the realm of behavior, in the realm of speech, or simply in the realm of mind. Those are the causes. Where are the results? The results are also in our own mind. The results are subjective and perceptual. So whereas other people may be saying, doing, and thinking things towards us, how we interpret them, how we relate to them, and how we position ourselves in the face of them, those are the consequences. Those are the results of prior actions. So for example, someone says something unkind to you and you feel hurt. And you take it to be that they hurt you directly. Actually, their words are merely a catalyst or trigger for the generation of a ripening effect. How do we know this? Well, the same words, the same decibels uttered out of the lips of another could land on the ears of someone entirely different with an entirely different karmic set and make them laugh, for example. Make them have compassion or pity. There's so many variety of results which highlight the individual differences. Likewise, someone could say something kind, and depending on your karma, you can interpret those kind words as shame, and a sense of unworthiness might arise, a sense of joy, a sense of indifference. All are possible, and that is because of the ripening effect of past karma. And it may be an individual difference, and it may also be just a difference on the day. One kind word one day can make you feel joyous. A kind word another day might trigger the ripening effect of shame. One thing about karma is that we never know exactly when a ripening effect will occur. So let's just take a moment to breathe in this radical version of karma simply being a psychological process of cause and effect. The things that we say, think, and do now plant a seed in consciousness, coloring perception to receive sense stimulation or inputs in a future moment that will ripen as a subjective experience. And that is the basic framework. Now, of course, there's cause and effect in the environment. There's cause and effect between individuals. There's cause and effect in biology. Cancer does have a cause. Weather has a cause. Wars have a cause. But they may not be caused simply because of one's own individual karma. So this narrows the scope of our introspection. Where should we be looking? We should be focusing on our intentions, our actions of body, speech, and mind. And we should be focusing on our subjective reactions. This is the theater in which karma is being caused, in which karma is taking its effect. Now let's go through the 4 characteristics of karma. And as we do, just try to breathe them in. Let them settle so that they almost implant or impregnate themselves. And this will help orient us in the future to what to look for and how to work with karma. So the first characteristic or law or principle of karma is that it is definite. Karma is definite. The analogy that is used is that a lemon seed can only produce a lemon fruit. By extension, virtue, virtuous thoughts, virtuous speech, virtuous action can only produce in the future moment the subjective experience of well-being, happiness, joy. Likewise, unvirtue, malice, content, envy, hatred, pride can only produce in a future moment subjective experiences of fragmentation, sadness, despair. So we shouldn't be confused. Things are not random, things are not inconsequential. Everything that we're experiencing on the inside has this causation. And karma is definite. At first, I think it requires trust and confidence in our teachers, trust and confidence in the sutras, trust and confidence all the way back to the Buddha's great seeing of reality, in which he describes karma clearly the way scientists who have discovered gravity proclaim it as a law principle. So although it may be imperceptible to the naked eye, some level of faith or confidence or conviction in the tradition helps us move in the direction. That certainly doesn't mean it's all based on blind faith. I think some first observation and logic and reason can also be very helpful. Second principle is that karma grows. So think about small little intentions in both directions, virtue and vice, seem inconsequential. But here there's this idea that they grow over time and they can reap massive results. So the example is that a small seed can grow into an enormous tree. An acorn can become a massive tree if left over time. A single trickle of water can fill an entire ocean or lake. We have the analogy of a butterfly flapping its wings can create an entire tsunami. So one moment of virtue, one kind word can save a life. Literally, try to think about that. One kind word, even a smile to a kid or child in peril can save a life. The same would also be true in the direction of vice. One unkind word can destroy a life. The habits in our own mind form complexes. Complexes form personalities, identities. They start as small habits, small intentions. They can grow into entire personalities. This is another example of how karma grows if left in the bedrock of consciousness. So we should be very careful. This is why Geshe Tenzin Zopa and other great masters really encourage the practice of rejoicing and the practice of purification. When we have a small virtue, we should celebrate it, rejoice. When others have a small victory, we should celebrate and rejoice. This amplifies the karma, it grows it. Its potency, its ripening effect will be much greater. Likewise, if we notice an unvirtue, we should purify right away, nullify the effect before it grows too large. Third principle is that karma is never lost. Very challenging. We all wish for clemency or forgiveness or somehow the amelioration of all our sins, but karma is like energy. It's never extinguished by the graces of others. It has to come to its full effect, and then it is extinguished. And so our consciousness is filled with past causes, seeds on consciousness, just waiting the right conditions of sunlight and soil and water to ripen. And since we've been traveling and migrating through time and space since beginningless time, there is an infinite number of these karmas just laying dormant. Many of them not so good virtues. And so we should definitely be proactive and focus on purification. And there are several kinds of purification. The first and most basic type of purification is just simply to acknowledge and accept and allow ripening effects to occur, particularly negative seeds or results to ripen in subjective experience without further cross-contamination, without further karmic reactivity. This is a kind of basic purification. So when you feel sad, when you feel lonely, when you feel angry, when you feel upset, when you feel low energy, simply to allow this to be the exhausting of past negative karmas without further retaliation, without further planting and further perpetuating cycles of future suffering. And there are other more proactive purifications, such as the Vajrasattva, short and long version, also the Confession of the 35 Buddhas, very profound practices of purification. The Nomdro, or the preliminary practices of Tantra, also contain extensive purifications. And the final characteristic of karma is that karma is very specific. Karma is very specific. So as we look ahead to the life that we want and the pursuits that we are aspiring for, we have to be very specific about how we get there. The goals that we seek are not random. They are the product or result of virtue. And so we should be orienting ourselves to liberation for the benefit of others and collecting merits, which are the seeds that allow for that ripening effect. As I like to say, no virtue, no liberation. Meditation is not enough. So here are the 4 characteristics of karma. Let's see if you can remember the 4 categories. Just go through them one by one if you can. I'll give you a few moments as you meditate. And then I'll repeat the list. Karma is definite. Karma grows. Karma is never lost until it's extinguished. And karma is specific. So hopefully all of these help orient the mind towards virtue. They also help us understand what's happening inside of us so that instead of wasting energy on directing pointing outwards, blaming others, and victimizing ourselves. This empowers us to become responsible, mature agents of our own unfoldment, our own development. We know how to work equally with unpleasant states and with pleasant states. This instills a great sense of confidence. So now let's dedicate the merit. By virtue of these contemplations on the gradual path, orienting ourselves towards virtue and liberation for the benefit of others, may we achieve our ultimate aim.